Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will study today visual acuity and ophthalmoscopy. Basically, these are the topics which are better performed in the practical classes and you have a better concept while using these apparatuses to understand the visual acuity and the ophthalmoscopy. But here I want to give some idea, some view about these topics, and I will try to discuss more points, some more new points about these topics. Visual acuity, as well as its definition is concerned, it is the clearness or acuteness of the vision. Because of that, it is called the visual acuity, the exact vision, which depends upon the sensitivity of the interpretive faculty of the brain and the sharpness of the retinal focus within the eye. So, how much your vision is sharp, that can be detected by some apparatus, specific apparatus, and this property is called the visual acuity. To check the visual acuity, we use a specific apparatus named as the Snellen's chart, which is kept at 6 meter distance. Most of the examiners, they are found to ask why it is kept at 6 meter, why not 5 or why not at 7 meter. And the answer is that is it is kept at a distance of 6 meter because at that distance an eye has 1 minute of arc. Now you will ask, what is the 1 minute of arc? That is the minimum angle at which an eye can make clear image. It is the 1/60th part of 1 degree of the angle. This is the shortest definition of 1 minute of the arc. So that is the reason that it is kept at 6 meter. From this picture you can see what is the Snell's chart, and with these figures here you can see the numbers also. They are placed in such a manner that it is the 6 by 60, 6 by 36, that this chart is kept at 6 meter, and one normal eye can see this capital T at a distance of 60 meter clearly. How we are going to write the normal visual acuity? We can write in this manner. If it is normal vision on both sides, that is the on right side and left side, we can write 6 by 6 for the right vision, for the right eye, and 6 by 6 for the left. If it is somewhat different, 6 by 18 on right side, then you will change it accordingly. This will show it is for the right side and this space is for left side. So in this manner we are going to write the visual acuity of the patient. Now this is the chart having these different kept on the 6 meter, while the second digit you can see that is changed because of the acuteness of the vision at the specific distance. So one normal eye can look this capital T clearly at 6 meter, as he or she can see these digits, these these letters. So in the same manner at a 60 meter distance this will be visualized. Now my question is, A very specific question may be asked during Viva, that if you are going to check your vision to nearby shop in which there is insufficient distance, the room is not so much spacey, it is less than 6 meter. So what will be the solution for that one? In that case, you will place some mirror in front of the patient, and you will place the Snellen chart with the at the same distance to the patient, at and the distance between the mirror and the patient will be 3 meter. As you are placing the Snellen's chart with the same distance as the patient has with the mirror, that is at the 3 meter, you will place the patient and Snellen's chart both at 3 meter from the mirror. So the total distance will become the 6 meter. That is the image going into the mirror and then coming back to your eyes, that is traveling the distance of a total 6 meters. So that is the solution, because in most of the shops where you can check your vision, that is not so much spacey and the distance is less than 6 meter. So in that case, we put a mirror in front of the patient and we keep these stance charts and patient both at the 3 meter distance in front of the mirror. Coming to the next topic, that is the ophthalmoscopy. Before that, I just want to tell you that how can ophthalmologist can examine the eye. When you visit any ophthalmologist, maybe you have seen this apparatus. This is called the slit lamp examination. You can see this is the slit lamp, and the apparatus is the slit lamp. She is the ophthalmologist and she is the doctor. Her eye is placed in such a manner that chin is placed here over the spot, and it becomes very much clear to the machine in which a lens is placed, so that the image of very fine section can be seen through this apparatus in which the microscope is set. So this is the place where the microscope is set, and this is the control level. Through this button, the ophthalmologist can you can see is through this button the ophthalmologist can arrange or can move his machine right, left, or forward, backward. And here the mirror is placed and the headrest or this one to support the head, and this is the to support the chin. So this is the apparatus, that is the slit lamp, and in this way the path of the light rays they go into the eye, and from there the ophthalmologist can visualize a very fine section of the eye through the microscope. So this is the apparatus for the simplest examination of the eye. If we need further more detail of the examination of eye, what should be the apparatus? And the answer that will be the ophthalmoscope, through which you can visualize the retina. Before discussing the details of the ophthalmoscopy, I just want to tell you that in our body, one organ is called the window of the body. And what is that organ? That is eye. Eye is the window of your body. Why it is called so? Because through this you can visualize your internal metabolism, your internal metabolism, to have an idea what is going inside your body. Any disease, for example, the simplest diseases like diabetes or hypertension, they are going to change the chemistry of the blood vessels, and eye is the organ through which you can directly visualize the blood vessels without any investigation, without pricking the patient, without any lab investigation. You can visualize and diagnose many diseases because of the advantage that blood vessels can be visualized with the retina directly by the ophthalmologist. That is the reason that I can give you an idea about your internal metabolism. What is going inside your body? If there is no disease, the retina will show 100% correct blood vessels. If there is any abnormality is going inside your body, that can be reflected through this organ. That is the reason it is called as the window of the body. Slit lamp, or in the simplest is the torch, and then after torch you can examine the eye through this slit lamp examination. Now my question is, what is the difference between the slit lamp examination and the ophthalmoscopy? Through the slit lamp examination, you can examine the anterior side of the, or the anterior segment of the eye. That is what is going on superficially. You can see the blood vessels present on the sclera, and what is the condition of the pupil, lens, all these things, and also the cornea. All these things can be visualized in a best way through the slit lamp examination. But you cannot see after the lens what is going on there, you cannot visualize. For that purpose we use the ophthalmoscopy. So the ophthalmoscopy is the best method to visualize the posterior segment. Posterior segment includes retina and also the vitreous humor. In case any abnormality is present in the vitreous humor, or it is if vitreous humor is drained, and that will lead to the shrinkage of the eyeball, all these things, they can be visualized in a best way through the ophthalmoscopy. In this picture you can see we are using these two type of the apparatus, because the ophthalmoscopy, this is the technique which is performed through these two apparatus. It is divided into two types, direct and indirect ophthalmoscopy, and for that we use these two apparatuses. What are the differences? What are the similarities? What are the differences of the image formation? What are advantages, disadvantages of both type? I will discuss in detail. As you can see, this is the apparatus which is used in the lab, and it is used in the clinical wards. Now, how you are going to compare it. Number one thing, indirect ophthalmoscopy. The lens is held in front of the patient's eye, and unlike the direct ophthalmoscope, an inverted upside down and laterally reversed back to front image is seen through the microscope. It's better that I should have this picture. This is the indirect ophthalmoscopy, which is performed through this apparatus. This apparatus is used during indirect ophthalmoscopy. This is a larger apparatus you can see, and as compared to this one, which is held in the hand of the ophthalmologist, and it is placed over the head. It has whole of the system, it has torch, it has lens, all placed in one this apparatus. While it has some difference, the light source is separate, and we can have the light source over the head here, and the lens is kept in the hand of the ophthalmologist. Now I will show you this picture again, that you can see the ophthalmologist using the light source here while placing the lens in hand here. The lens is kept over the eye, very close to the eye, but have some distance from, very little distance from the eye, as compared to the other apparatus in which the whole system is placed in one instrument. This is the difference which can be visualized grossly here, that this apparatus is kept over the head of the ophthalmologist. Lens is held here in hand over the eye of the patient, and the position of the patient is this one, almost at 45 angle. Now coming to the image formation. Now I repeat it, that the image through this apparatus that is formed, it is inverted, laterally reversed image seen through the microscope. A binocular view, what is that one? That is, you are using both of your eyes is seen, and therefore depth perception can be appreciated. Retinal thickening or edema can be seen as bumps, and it's possible whether new vessels flat and growing along the surface of the retina or forward and growing into vitreous cavity. I again show you this one. This is the picture. So when the ophthalmologist visualize the retina in this manner, which is the indirect ophthalmoscopy, the image which is formed, that is very much larger but inverted. That is the structure which is seen at 12 position, that is the uppermost position. Actually it is on 6th position, that is at 6 o'clock position below. If the structure is seen on the right side, actually it is on the left side. But ophthalmologists, they are trained to interpret it, so they will prescribe that I have seen the opacity or any other abnormality on 3 o'clock position or on 4 o'clock or 9 o'clock position, to describe its exact position and to understand what is the abnormality and where it exists. The view which can be visualized through this method, that is much larger as compared to the direct ophthalmoscopy, because through that apparatus you are visualizing retina directly and on that spot. But in this manner, through the indirect ophthalmoscopy, the view is much larger, and with the movement or very slight movement of the lens you can have a big larger view, much larger than the direct ophthalmoscopy. But the difference is that upside down, each thing that is opposite, right on left, left on right, up is down and down is up. That is the main difference. Before examination of the eye through the ophthalmoscopy, you must dilate the pupil of the patient with the dilators. Mostly Madrassil drop it can be used to dilate the pupil. Firstly, we install the few drops of the Madrassil into the eye of the patient with a short interval of the 5 or 10 minutes. You install almost 2-3 times one drop of Madrassil into the eye of the patient. Once it is dilated, then it is possible to visualize the retina. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult or impossible to have a better view of the retina. Because when you dilate the pupil, the space becomes much more and it is very easy to visualize the whole of the retina. Now coming to the direct ophthalmoscopy, you must check the difference of the position of the patient and also the ophthalmologist. In the direct ophthalmoscopy, number one thing, the difference is of the apparatus. This is the apparatus. Now position, you can check the position of the patient sitting while the ophthalmologist using ophthalmoscope and coming very close to the patient. And you can see the light is falling over the eye through this ophthalmoscope because the torch and the lens and all these things they are placed inside here. The details of apparatus can be better understand while using these apparatuses. So here I can just give you the other points rather than related to the instrument, how it works and what other precautions we should use and while using this apparatus. So it is better to have an idea about the apparatus in the lab. Here I will differentiate the points regarding direct and indirect ophthalmoscopy and other diagnostic points regarding this technique. So this is the position. Once the pupil is dilated, the ophthalmologist firstly fall light over the retina here from the far distance to see the red reflex. Once it is positive, that is the red reflex. Once it is positive, that after that the ophthalmologist come closer to the patient to visualize the retina directly. So he is falling the light over the eye in this manner so that through the pupil the light is going to be fall over the retina directly and he is going to visualize the retina directly, and the image which is formed that is in the same manner as he is visualizing, that is the it is right side on the right. Any abnormality present on the right side that can be visualized on the right side and left on the left side. So there are no inversion as compared to the indirect ophthalmoscopy. But the view of the retina is much smaller in this method as compared to the indirect ophthalmoscopy. Why indirect is called indirect and it is direct? As I have discussed many points, with that one more point is that in during the indirect ophthalmoscopy here you are placing the lens over the eye with some distance from the patient's eye. It is not closer to the eye, it is kept here so that there is a media. This is the ophthalmologist eye. So there is a media between the eye of the ophthalmologist. Then we can have this lens and then air media and then the retina of the patient. So it is some media, the presence of some media in between the lens and the patient's retina as compared to the this technique that ophthalmologist is going very close to the eye, almost reached to the retina, so that there is no in between media. There is no media in between, so that the retina is going to be examined directly. His eye is attached to this apparatus and he is very much closer to the patient as compared to the indirect. So because of this reason, the other technique is called indirect, while this is the direct ophthalmoscopy. And also in this you are directly visualizing retina as such as it is present inside the eye. There is no inversion, there is no opposite thing as we can have the image, inverted image in indirect ophthalmoscopy. This is the more detailed picture of the direct and indirect ophthalmoscopy. This is the lens used in the indirect ophthalmoscopy, which is placed at some distance from the patient's eye as compared to this, the light source, mirror, all these, and examine observing eye, all these things they are in line. But here, as there is some distance between the eye and then lens and then this one, the image is crossed here. While using this lens, then before that there is a crossing and then it falls to the examiner's eye. So that, and this is the patient eye this is the ophthalmologist eye, while the examined eye, the patient's eye is here. So before that you are going to place the lens, and this is the ophthalmologist eye, and before that image formation, here the crossing occur. Because of this crossing, the image form in this technique that is inverted. As compared to this ophthalmologist eye, he is using the apparatus in which the lens is present, the light source, mirror, all these things they are present in one instrument, and this is the patient's eye. So this is the image formation how the ophthalmologist is receiving. There is no crossing, so the image is formed that is the actual image as compared to this inverted image. The further differences of these two techniques you can see from here, That magnification from the direct ophthalmoscopy is 15 times, from the indirect 5 times when a plus 13 diopter condensing lens is used. This is the power of the lens which is kept over the patient's eye. Diameter of the field of view, brightness, structure seen. Now this is very important, that structure seen through the direct central retina, central retina can only be visualized, while here you can see the peripheral retina also. That is, the view become much more larger. For that purpose, I will show you one more diagram. This one, in which you can compare very easily this difference. That is, this is the direct ophthalmoscopy, while it is the indirect ophthalmoscopy. Through the indirect ophthalmoscopy, the image is inverted, but it is so much larger. There is no comparison between this one and this one. So much larger, that through this very important point, through the indirect ophthalmoscopy, you can visualize whole of the retina, not only in the central part but also the peripheral part of the retina, as compared to the direct ophthalmoscopy, which can visualize just the central part. To see the peripheral part, you have to move this in the different direction, and then it can visualize whole of the retina. But at one time, this is the picture. This is the area for a picture through the direct ophthalmoscopy. What is written here? Two disc diameters and disc diameter. What is that? How you are going to measure the distance, or to prescribe any abnormality present on the retina? What is the size of that one? That, for that purpose, we use this terminology: two disc diameters or eight diameters, or how much the size. From where you are getting this one? The disc, that is the size of the head of the optic nerve. From there you can have an idea. That is the, from there we have measured this thing, that how much is the distance. From here you can have one part, second, third, fourth, and so on, dividing into different parts. The whole is divided into 8 parts, and from there you are going to compare it, that it is the just 2 parts. So it is the 2 disc diameter, while the whole of the width of this one, that is the 8 disc diameter. This is the picture of the normal retina, which can be visualized through the ophthalmoscope. Now, what is this thing, optic disc? It is the area of the optic nerve, while it is the central part of the retina fovea. At this point, you have the maximum visual acuity, maximum number of cones here, while this area is devoid of photoreceptors. But other specific thing is that through this area, the retinal artery traverses with the retinal nerve and bulges out into over the retina through this point. You can see abundant blood vessel here, merging through this point and going to whole of the retina. So this is the point which should be traced, a landmark. You cannot fall the light over this area, which is actually avascular. You must avoid this area, as it is the area of the maximum visual acuity, having the maximum number of photoreceptor, and very sensitive to the light rays. Once you fall light over that area, the patient at once refuse you to examination of his eye, because you are falling the light rays over fovea, which is very much intense because of the maximum sensitivity over that area. So avoid this area. We fall light over the optic disc, that is possible. And how you are going to diagnose other diseases? Through the condition of the blood vessels present on the retina. Either they are dilated, or you can see any obstruction present over whole of the retina, or any opacity, any hemorrhage, or any other abnormality can be present, can be visualized over the retina through this ophthalmoscope. This is the area of the optic disc which is mostly present on the nasal side, while it is the central part, and this is the temporal side of the eye. To have a clear examination how you are going to divide your eye, that is this area which is closer to the nose, it is the nasal side, which is away from the nose, closer to the temporal area. So this is the temporal side of the eye. To describe the exact position of any opacity, this is the landmark, because it is present on the nasal side. And how you are going to uh, how you are going to check it? What is the identification point for this optic disc? The best is the blood vessels which are emerging from this point and is distributed to whole of the retina. So this is the point for the identification of the optic disc. How you are going to diagnose it, or how you will identify it? Once you see the retina, it is the best that you should focus any blood vessel present over the retina. Once you focus this one, now come with the line of the blood vessel and go towards the nasal side and traverse with the artery. Where it ends, that point will be the optic disc. Each and every artery or its branch that will end on the optic disc, because this is the point from where it is coming. You cannot see this one and identify this one directly. Maybe you are falling light here, maybe here, this part is you are seeing this part of the retina, or here. So how you will check the presence of the optic disc? How you are going to identify it? The best way is go with the artery. Focus any artery or its branch, and then go with the artery, traverse the whole of the pathway, and go to its original point from where it is emerging. This is the point of the optic disc. In this picture, I am showing you some of the abnormalities like retinal tear or retinal detachment, as this area is showing edematous swelling. You can check the change of the color because of the edematous fluid here. because of the detachment of the retina, many diseases like glaucoma, like hypertension, like diabetes, they can be diagnosed through this just simple ophthalmoscopy. This is the optic disc. This is the normal shape of the optic disc. In disease position like glaucoma, it is having, because of the either the edematous fluid accumulated behind that or in front of the eye, in the aqueous chamber and in the anterior segment. All these, they are going to affect the retina and this optic disc. If there is any disease in which the edematous fluid is accumulated behind the retina, it can push forward the optic disc. So bulging of this area will take place in that case. If, for example, papilledema, for example, glaucoma, in that case there is abnormality occurring in the anterior segment because of the excessive accumulation of the aqueous humor. We will discuss this disease later on, but here you must focus and correlate the findings of the glaucoma with this one. In that case, the edematous fluid is in front of the retina. So this is going to press this optic disc behind. In that case, the cupping of the optic disc that can be seen through the ophthalmoscopy. This is much detail about the ophthalmoscopy and visual acuity. If you have any question or if you are more interested in these two methods, you can call me personally. I have discussed in a very short way here because basically these are the topics for the practical classes and they must be explained there clearly and thoroughly as compared to the theoretical class, but I just want to give you an idea. During your practical classes, it must be discussed in detail with the details of the apparatus, with the detail of the red reflexes and all other steps which should be followed to visualize the retina through the ophthalmoscope. So this is much about these techniques. Thank you very much and Allah Hafiz.